David is known as one of the best Supreme Court advocates currently practicing.
He has this record that is frankly imposing. More than 50 appeals argued in the Supreme Court of the United States. He worked in the Solicitor General's office. He wrote a leading book on appellate advocacy.
I think appellate advocacy for David is not necessarily a bigger arena, but it goes into the nuts and bolts of why things happen legally.
Being in Washington has you thinking about policy. You're instilled with this sense of public interest, public good, and public duty. And then when you're in the SG's office, you have such an awesome responsibility, and I mean by awesome, I mean weighty, to do right by the American people, do right by the justices, do right by the client. One of the things that I think is most special about advocacy is the impact. I mean, that's the whole game, is impact.
When you think about David, you have to remember that he consciously chose to represent the folks who were less able to obtain that type of top-notch Supreme Court advocacy. And I think he changed the landscape.
He's driven, but it's not by perfection, and I don't think it's by ego. I think it's to make the best argument he can, and he'll do everything he can to get there.
David's mind is trained to think about the public and public good, and his choice of case selection demonstrates that.
The case that always pops into my mind is White versus Levine.
Diana Levine was a musician who lost most of her arm as a result of a side effect from a prescription anti-nausea medication. The pharmaceutical company argued it was immune from lawsuits.
The real-world consequence was whether Ms. Levine was entitled to try to seek damages.
The Supreme Court ruled in Ms. Levine's favor. What that meant was that not only Diana, but also thousands of patients like her would have access to justice.
That is something that is very powerful, and it happened in large part because of David's skilled advocacy.
I remember watching David walk down the steps of the Supreme Court building with Ms. Levine after the oral argument in that case. And it was a moment that really crystallized the impact that the work we do at the Supreme Court has on the lives of real people.
I feel like I've had a front row seat watching David's career. He just takes the law very seriously, sees it not only as a profession and a job, but as an art form.
His relentless curiosity, his interest in cases, in the intersection of things, his reach deeper and deeper to understand the legal battleground. I think David is the master.
David was the student that professors love to have in class. He made the class better.
David is a different sort of team member than the usual great team member that you might have. He is one that's willing to think about things and come up with outside the box, outside the playbook ideas.
About 12 or 13 years ago, Michael Sturley and David Frederick came to me and they said, we'd like to start a Supreme Court clinic. We sought out actual cases that were candidates for cert petitions in the United States Supreme Court and allow our students to work as advocates with 3 faculty members. The students have an opportunity, which not many lawyers do in their lifetime, to actually participate in the litigation of cases in the United States Supreme Court. The Supreme Court Clinic and Supreme Court clinics in general, and David Frederick's Appellate Advocacy in particular, is a crucial component of our justice system, with people like David Frederick taking up the cause of tort victims, individuals. We get the emerging legal doctrine less skewed and as fair as it can be.
I think it's wonderful to encourage students who want to work in the public interest. I've been the faculty advisor to the Texas Law Fellowships for decades. David has been exceptionally generous over the years. Last year, he funded 4 fellowships. He wanted to see all the applications so he could decide which students he would support. So it just wasn't the idea of giving money and providing support. he was personally interested in what the students wanted to do.
A lot of people think that a dream donor is someone that gives you a big check and walks away, but that's not true. A dream donor is a donor like David Frederick, who wants to partner with you for the long term. We were just beginning construction on a brand new Boys and Girls Club, the Mays Family Clubhouse. Because of David and Sophie's gift, we were able to build the new clubhouse with our full vision. And that's really why we're sitting in this beautiful room today. And David is a very special donor because he truly doesn't care about the recognition.
He is generous with his time, he is generous with his talents, he is generous with his treasure.
David, as your former teacher and friend ever since, I want to congratulate you for this richly deserved award.
There is no one in my mind who is more deserving of this award than you. Having practiced with you side by side for so many years, it's very obvious to me that this award was tailor-made for you. So congratulations.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with you in the Supreme Court Clinic, to learn from you about appellate advocacy.
Almost 15 years ago, one of the first times I met you, you asked me what my 10-year plan was for my career. Whatever it was, it didn't come close to measuring up to what my actual career has been like working with you.
On behalf of the Boys and Girls Clubs of San Antonio, our staff, and the almost 9,000 kids we serve each year, we just want to say congratulations.
It is my honor to have been side by side with you for a decade. This is a well-deserved honor.
I'm very excited for you, as always. Congratulations.
It's just the start of things to come. Okay.